both with excellent defenses, offenses, speed, punching power, both undefeated, both with belts. It would be a unification fight. It almost never happens. Almost never. In a 50-50 fight.
Period. That is the fight everyone should want. That is the #1 desirable fight in all of combat sports. There is no other fight that anyone should want more.
They're meeting at a great time, and whoever wins this fight should be the supreme 154-pounder right now.
Is this a fight that you dare to say is a 50-50 fight?
Yeah, it is a 50-50 fight. I give it more, it's 50-50 in a sense, but because of the experience, you can go 60-40. 60 with Boots, 40 with Xander, but it kind of is a 50-50 fight, yes.
Max Kellerman stepped into the studio alongside Stephen A. Smith, ready to throw a curveball at what most fight fans consider a foregone conclusion, the highly anticipated matchup between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas. While the majority of the boxing community has been riding with Ennis as the clear favorite, Kellerman isn't buying into that narrative. His take, don't sleep on Zayas. According to Kellerman, Xander Zayas brings more to the table than people are giving him credit for. We're talking pinpoint accuracy, a sharp tactical mind between the ropes, and the kind of unshakable mental composure that can flip a fight on its head and potentially leave the entire boxing world stunned.
Thing to say, Boots is this future superstar. He beat this guy and that guy and that guy. Meantime, when you actually make the fights, and it's like, oh, he's really going to fight that guy? Is he going to win? Where are you with this?
Where I am, Max, is that I want to give a lot of credit to Xander Zayas. You know, Xander Zayas, young guy, he wanted this fight. He called for the fight, and he made it happen quick after the Virgil Ortiz-Boots fight fell apart. So fair play to Xander. He has a lot of confidence in himself, even though he's going to be the underdog. And you're right, Boots hasn't proven anything yet. Not his fault, but he hasn't fought anyone. He looks special. Now we're going to find out, is he?
Stephen A. Smith made it clear, Zayas isn't just another name on the card. In his view, this is a fighter with something rare, a level of natural ability that the broader audience has been overlooking. And if people aren't paying close attention right now, they might just wake up to a result nobody saw coming. Zayas pulling off the upset against Boots.
Brother is special, and we need to recognize that, and he deserves to be seen, and he deserves a...
Kellerman drove home a critical point. Xander Zayas didn't take the easy road. He looked at the landscape, identified the most formidable challenge out there, and walked straight toward it. We're talking about willingly putting both his belt and his legacy on the line against Jaron Ennis, one of the most threatening opponents he could have chosen. That's not just confidence, that's a career-defining gamble. And however it plays out, it will leave a permanent mark on who Xander Zayas is as a fighter.
The thing about Xander, you're right, you got to give him props, is when you have a built-in fan base. In other words, it's not just that you're of a certain ethnic or national group, but you're undefeated. You've been groomed and promoted as maybe the future star that group's fan base will follow. You're risking a lot because you have a built-in economic engine behind you. And when you're a guy who can be put in a position to pick and choose, and you choose Boots, Gabe, what does that say?
Absolutely. This is a fight he definitely didn't have to take, man. You know, he's a 2-division champion right now. And for him to choose the toughest guy on paper right now, I mean, skill-wise, Boots, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. He could have went a different route, but he chose the best guy.
Roy Jones Jr. didn't hold back his admiration for Xander Zayas, calling him one of the most complete packages in the division today. What stands out, according to Jones, is just how adaptable Zayas is inside the ring. Whether he's working from the outside with his lengthy frame or grinding it out in close quarters, he looks equally comfortable doing both. Add in that punishing body attack, and you got a fighter who can hurt you in multiple ways. But perhaps what impressed Jones most is the level of maturity Zayas carries for someone his age, a rare quality that makes him not just talented, but genuinely difficult to prepare for and even harder to beat.
Zayas is a very good fighter, a complete fighter, a fighter who I think presents next to the most, he's probably the second most difficult guy to fight in the weight class because he's rangy. He can do so many things. He can fight inside, he can fight outside. He's a great body puncher. He's a very, very respected guy, and I think he's very mature for his age. Boots, on the other hand, is looking for that coming out party type fight. So he got to fight somebody at this point. And because he couldn't get A, he went to B. And I liked that about Boots because Boots saying, I want all the smoke. If this one won't take me, I'll go find the next one. And so since he couldn't make the fight with Ortiz, he made the fight with Xander. This is what you want to see. This is a barn burner, I think. May the best man win, but both of these guys are capable of becoming the biggest threat to Fundora in the weight class because right now, Fundora is still the king of the weight class.
Jones Jr. acknowledged that the boxing world had its eyes set on an Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz collision. That was the fight everyone was buzzing about. But in his estimation, the Zayas matchup might actually carry more intrigue than that dream bout ever would have.
I really wanted to see Boots tested by another fighter beforehand. I wanted to see him fight Virgil Ortiz first because those,
at 54.
Yes, because those two guys were kind of on a collision course. However, I think Golden Boy and Virgil Ortiz had some issues. So now Boots went to the next best thing, which is even better than Virgil Ortiz. He went to Xander's.
Trainer Robert Garcia added his voice to the growing chorus of respect surrounding Xander Zayas. In Garcia's eyes, this is a young fighter who doesn't just have ability, he has belief in himself. And that combination is dangerous. Stepping into the ring with Jaron Ennis at this stage of his career is no small thing. Garcia made that crystal clear. But rather than questioning the decision, he respected it. Taking on that kind of risk early in a career says something about a fighter's character. And according to Garcia, that self-belief and positive mindset Zayas carries into camp and into the ring isn't just admirable. It's exactly what could make him a legitimate threat on fight night.
Versus Xander is a very good consolation prize to get if we're not getting Virgil versus either of them. What are your thoughts on that fight?
Look, it's a great fight, and Boots getting those challenges out there. Xander deciding to fight Boots on a very dangerous, challenging fight for himself. You know, you gotta respect, that decision. If the Virgil fight didn't happen, and then Virgil versus Boots is not happening, and Xander stepping in, gotta respect that kid, for being 23 and taking those challenges. You gotta respect that, my pick, I would probably say goes to Boots because talent-wise, but Xander is positive about himself, man. He sounds very confident. I talked to him and he's very confident, very positive.
That said, not everyone is convinced Zayas is without exploitable flaws. Several analysts have pointed out patterns in his offensive approach that a sharp opponent could take advantage of. There's a noticeable habit of drifting to his left when he's pressing forward, and that kind of tendency can leave a fighter exposed to short right hands and well-timed counters, precisely the type of openings that Ennis has the skill set to capitalize on. On top of that, for all the positives in Zayas' game, elite finishing power simply isn't part of his arsenal. And that concern becomes harder to ignore when you consider that he's already been caught cleanly by opponents who carry far less punching threat than the man he's about to face.
All right, so you were saying you watched the tape of Xander Zayas,
right?
And you kind of touched on that. He gets himself in certain spots where he doesn't throw punches. Go ahead and elaborate.
So when he's in the middle, so when he's on the center line, he might throw punches, but there's no power behind him. And if he's sitting on his right hand, same thing. He throws punches, quick shots, but those aren't the really dangerous shots. When he's trying to exchange and he wants to hurt you, you'll see his head go off center to the left over and over again. So he peaks, sort of like, I remember Salvador Sanchez used to hit you with those Jones, but then he'll peek over. So he'll peek over, throw a quick right hand, or he'll peek over, and if you freeze, or if he catches the right look that he's looking for, he's shooting a left hook or left hand to the body or left hand to the head almost every time. You know what I mean? And he throws with weight and with power. That's what he does to try to hurt his opponents, right? But that gets him caught because that's his rhythm. Every time he was there against Sparmer was hitting him with short right hands and was just timing his move. Like whenever he would peek over here, that short right hand was coming almost every time, and Sparmer was catching him right on the chin with those. And then when he's pulling back out of that, he's catching him with hooks. So he was short right hands, left hooks almost all day. It's just that Sparmer was a smaller guy, couldn't really hurt him, but he was hitting him. And that's what I pay attention to, is like, Boots is fast enough and athletic enough to still catch you in those positions, but it's not like you're fighting a smaller guy. Boots can hurt you if you get caught clean like that.
Terrence Crawford brought a different perspective to the conversation. While he has nothing but respect for what Zayas brings to the table, the talent is undeniable, the confidence is real. His concern comes from a place of experience. In Crawford's view, this fight is simply arriving too soon in Zayas' career. At the highest levels of the sport, what separates good fighters from great ones isn't just raw ability. It's the kind of wisdom and battle-tested experience that only time and tough fights can build. And that, Crawford suggests, is something Zayas hasn't fully accumulated yet. The message was clear: rushing a prospect into elite competition before they're truly ready can do more harm than good. And patience isn't weakness, it's strategy.
It's a tough fight, especially for Xander at this point in his career, but it shows his heart and his confidence, that he has in himself, and he's ready to go make history for his country, and he's going to do real well in that fight. I just think, right now, it's a little bit too early for him.
Jaron Ennis showed up to the announcement with zero doubt in his mind. His words left no room for interpretation. In his own estimation, there is no bigger name in the 154-pound division than his. He's not just competing at super welterweight, he's taking ownership of it. Nobody in that weight class, he argued, brings the combination of excitement and skill that he does. And as far as Ennis is concerned, this fight with Zayas isn't a destination, it's a starting point, a statement, the opening chapter of what he fully intends to be a run of total dominance over the entire division.
I'm feeling great, man. About to be a two-time weight division unified champ. Man, I'm snapping my legacy, man. It's only up, man. I'm about to show the world I'm the best in the world. I'm gonna continue to keep showing the world I'm the best in the world. Like this boxing game, mine, straight like that.
Now, the bout with Virgil.
At this moment, the entire boxing world has its weight behind Jaron Ennis. He's the chosen one in the eyes of most. And carrying that level of public backing into a fight of this magnitude may have done something to his mindset. That wave of universal support could very well be fueling a heightened sense of confidence, and perhaps even ego, as he prepares to step into the ring with Xander Zayas.
Answering the questions that Boots was asking. So it was really one way.
Like I said, both of the guys seem to be kind of, I wouldn't say soft-spoken, but they seem respectful. Boots, he always been kind of chill. I seen Xander being kind of chill. I could see, Xander putting a chip on his back because everybody counting him out. I could see him having a chip on his shoulder because everybody's counting him out. Everybody's just, so high on Boots. So I could see that fueling him. But as far as, Boots getting all tough with him, I don't understand that. I don't, he's the golden child. I don't understand what he got to feel like he got to do. I think his role is to just stay quiet and handle his business with his fists.
Veteran cornerman Coach Reggie didn't mince words when the conversation turned to Xander Zayas. He's not questioning the kid's ability. That much he made clear. The talent is there, and the potential is genuine. But talent alone doesn't win fights at the highest level, and that's exactly where his concern lies. Zayas, in Reggie's assessment, is still in a developmental phase of his career, a phase where certain things can only be learned through time and gradual progression. Throwing him into the deep end against someone like Jaron Ennis right now risks exposing vulnerabilities that haven't had the chance to be ironed out yet. The timing, the experience, the seasoning that elite competition demands, those aren't things a prospect can fast-track. And rushing that process, Reggie cautioned, could set a promising career back rather than push it forward.
Xander's a good fighter. I like Xander. I just think that Xander don't know enough. To take a fight like this. I mean, granted, you get in this game, you in this game to be the best. But I don't think he's ready for a fight like this. I mean, Xander's good, he can fight, but he's still a kid, still a baby, still in learning stages right now.
A unified champion, though, right?
He is.
Big kid. Seems like he's getting better each and every fight.
And I agree, but Boots in careers, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, are they going to pay him enough? You know what I'm saying? But they'll pay him enough because I'm sure after they fight.
Boxing journalist Mike Kopinger offered a perspective that goes beyond just the fight itself. In his view, Zayas accepting this challenge against Ennis isn't just a sporting decision. It's a calculated business move. Yes, he walks in as the underdog. Yes, the odds aren't in his favor. But Kopinger argues that's almost beside the point. Sharing the ring with a high-profile, proven name like Ennis instantly elevates Zayas' standing in the sport. It puts him in front of larger audiences, on bigger platforms, and on the radar of the promoters and networks that control the sport's biggest opportunities. And here's the deeper angle Kopinger is making. Even in defeat, the rewards could be significant. The financial upside alone makes this a worthwhile risk. But beyond the money, it's about positioning. By choosing ambition over comfort, by stepping up instead of padding a record against softer opposition, Zayas is sending a message to the entire boxing world about the kind of fighter and the kind of brand he intends to build. That decision, Kopinger believes, could shape the entire trajectory of his long-term career.
Why there's so much hype around Boots. He's an incredible athlete, he has a great jab, he can box, he's in good fights, he has power. But Xander Zayas at 23 is definitely an improving fighter. And like you said, Gabe, he's an economic engine, right? He could be fighting in Puerto Rico, he just sold out in January. He could fight in New York, he's gonna probably have the bigger fan support here. And I think this is a great business move for Xander too. He's gonna get a career high payday, and like you said, 190 he walks around at. He hasn't had much more time at 154.
Yeah. And also I'm thinking about is if you really watch Boots does look special all the time. But there's cases where he gets hit a lot. And you're like, man, for you to be so good and so special, why are you getting hit from some of these lower class fighters? So Xander might have seen that. So you know what? Yeah, I know Boots is special. I know he's really, really good, etc. But I see things in his game where I can...
Boots Ennis enters this fight carrying the weight of a well-earned reputation. At 154 pounds, he's widely regarded as one of the most polished and complete fighters in the entire division. A legitimate elite talent with the resume to back it up. Zayas, on the other hand, turned heads just by being here. By all accounts, even people within his own inner circle were caught off guard by how aggressively he pursued this matchup. Rather than taking the predictable route, a comfortable title defense against a more manageable opponent, he went out of his way to chase one of the most dangerous fights available to him. When the two men finally stood face to face at the face-off, the atmosphere was electric. Neither fighter blinked. Sharp words were exchanged, and the intensity in that room made it clear this isn't just another fight for either man involved. What was equally striking was how Zayas carried himself throughout. At just 23 years old, still finding his footing at the championship level, he looked anything but nervous. The composure he showed under that spotlight was notable. But when you step back and look at the full picture, the advantages on Ennis' side are hard to ignore. The experience gap, the ring intelligence built through years of high-level competition, and a track record forged against elite opposition. All of that gives Ennis a measurable edge as fight night approaches.
Boots was going to have confidence. He believes he's the best 154 in the world. Xander Zayas, who even people on his own side wondered why he was pushing for this fight. Even his trainer needed an explanation from him before he signed off on him taking this fight. His promoter, who admitted on the dais that like his plan for Xander was to put him in MSG, put him in Puerto Rico, do a nice title defense. This was all Xander Zayas. But Xander on that stage continues to look like, act like, sound like a guy that firmly believes that he is the better fighter in this matchup. What were your takeaways from watching Boots and Xander face-to-face for the first time?
It was a fun press conference because Boots was really confident. He was brimming with confidence, and normally you see Boots more, more chill with a little bit more swagger. He's a little bit more, soft with his comebacks. But no, he was brimming with confidence, and him and Zayas were going back and forth, and I think Zayas handled it perfect. For a 23-year-old champion who hasn't really been against the best, he's facing somebody that's potentially pound for pound one of the best, and Zayas handled it. He handled it with flying colors, man. And I think Boots better respect what he has in front of him. Even though the measurements stay the same, I saw a bigger, younger fighter motivated to do something great in Zayas.
Interestingly, neither fighter enters this matchup with a spotless defensive record. But the way their vulnerabilities show up couldn't be more different. With Ennis, the exposure tends to surface when he commits fully to his offensive output. There are moments where he opens up while unloading combinations, and in those windows, a sharp-eyed opponent can find a way in with well-timed counters. It's a byproduct of his aggression, and one a prepared fighter could look to exploit. Zayas carries a different kind of defensive liability. Still in the process of refining that side of his game at the championship level, he can be caught by precise, well-timed shots when his positioning breaks down. These are the kinds of lapses you'd expect from a fighter still accumulating elite-level experience. And against someone with Ennis's timing and accuracy, those moments could prove costly. When analysts weigh everything side by side, overall skill, natural talent, and the quality of opposition each man has been tested by, Ennis comes out ahead across the board. That's precisely why Zayas carries underdog status walking into this fight, even with unified championship gold around his waist. Tactically, the expectation is that Zayas will look to dictate the pace by pushing forward and forcing Ennis onto the back foot. The problem with that plan? Ennis is exceptionally dangerous fighting in reverse. Counter-punching is where he thrives, and backing up doesn't disrupt his rhythm. If anything, it invites it. That dynamic alone could be the central chess match that decides how this fight unfolds.
And if Boots is not careful and is a little bit too much overconfident, then this is a type of fight where he can be exposed. There was something both of them were going on saying they both get hit. Yes, they do, but Boots gets hit being offensive. Zayas gets hit, being a little bit pulling his head back, rookie mistakes. And I think a fighter like Boots can capitalize on that. And Zayas better be on his P's and Q's. He better have that sharp technique because he's dealing with a more confident, maybe overconfident, a more skilled and naturally gifted fighter in Boots. And that's the reason that the unified champion is the underdog in Zayas.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder what Zayas' game plan is going to be, because his team, I think, is going to want him to try to push Boots back. And you saw some of the things that Xander said. He said he felt that Boots has been a weight bully for most of his career. So that and some conversations that I had with people around him told me that they want to be a more offensive-oriented fighter. When guys come at Jaron Ennis, he is an excellent counterpuncher. He's excellent fighting, going backwards. He kind of eats up that style. Now, maybe Xander and his team can say he's never done that against a guy on my level. That's probably true. I mean, look, Stanionis is a really good fighter. Boots carved him up. Lima, certainly not on Xander's level, but he came at Boots and got...
Hall of Fame voice Winky, Wright brought a timeless truth to the conversation. Greatness, he argued, isn't something a fighter can claim. It has to be extracted through the fire of facing other great fighters. You don't build a legacy by avoiding the best. You build it by walking toward them. And in his eyes, that's exactly what this fight between Zayas and Ennis represents. This isn't just a title fight on a card. It's a defining crossroads moment for both men. The things that separate good fighters from all-time ones. The discipline forged through years of sacrifice, the technical mastery developed in thousands of rounds, and the raw courage it takes to show up when everything is on the line. All of that gets put on full display in a matchup of this magnitude. Wright's deeper point was this: fights like these do more than entertain a crowd for 12 rounds. They write history. They separate contenders from champions in the truest sense of the word. And when it's all over, whoever comes out on top won't just have a win on their record. They'll have earned something far more permanent.
Keith Thurman. There's also the triangle that I like to call Virgil Ortiz, Xander, and Boots. Right now, it looks like Xander and Boots are going to fight. What are your thoughts on that fight?
It's going to be a good fight, man. It's the division looking good right now, and I just want to see all the fighters fight each other, man. The best need to fight the best. That's what's going to bring the fans to boxing. And, you can only be great by beating somebody great. You know what I'm saying? You can have a bunch of wins with no great win. You're just a good fighter, but you want to be great, you need to beat another great fighter. So they got the opportunity, and I hope they...
Sean Porter had plenty to say about Jaron Boots Ennis, and he wasn't shy about it. In Porter's words, Ennis is a phenomenon, a live wire inside the ropes, who carries the kind of electricity that can short-circuit an opponent's entire game plan in a single exchange. The only thing missing, Porter argued, hasn't been ability. It's been opportunity. The right stage. The right moment to let the world see exactly what he's capable of. That moment, according to Porter, arrives on June 27th. The Zayas fight, in his view, is the perfect platform for Ennis to step fully into the spotlight and announce himself at the highest level. But Porter was quick to pump the brakes on any notion of a foregone conclusion. This won't be a showcase, it'll be a war. And when the dust settles, it'll be the better man on that night who walks away with the victory. Plain and simple. He acknowledged that fans on both sides of the fence might not love hearing that. But the reality is that this fight is genuinely competitive. Ennis carries undeniable gifts, no question. But Zayas brings his own formula to the table. A combination of self-belief, iron discipline, and refined skill that makes him a legitimate handful for anyone in the division, including Ennis.
Ken, I'm thinking to myself, if this is what a phenom looks like, then what the hell is Boots Ennis?
Yeah.
And I was like, so that's where the calling him the amazing Boots Ennis comes from. The dude is electricity waiting to shock you.
Yeah.
And he just hasn't had the opportunities to shock, right? So he's got Xander coming up here pretty soon. That fight's in June or May?
June 27th.
That fight's at the end of June. And I think that we will see an amazing Boots Ennis against a superb Xander Zayas. And I think the best man will win that fight. I don't think that that's a one-sided fight either way. If you're from Philly, you don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? If you're Puerto Rican, you don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? But it's a great matchup. But I just wanted to answer to that real quick. I just from what I was exposed to over the weekend, and that just has been in my mind. So when I came to Boots, it was like, if you call in everybody else phenoms and stuff like that, then we just gonna have to call him the amazing Boots Ennis. You know?
Max Kellerman turned his attention to the junior middleweight division, and his assessment painted a vivid picture of just how unsettled things are at 154 pounds right now. Rather than pointing to one clear-cut king sitting comfortably above the rest, his breakdown of the landscape told a different story. This is a division where the margins are razor thin and the competition is as fierce and unpredictable as it's been in years. Elite fighters are, especially at 154 pounds, where contenders are constantly shifting rankings and proving themselves through high-level matchups. Kellerman has long emphasized that junior middleweight is one of the toughest divisions in boxing, where styles, timing, and experience often matter more than hype or records. In his breakdowns, he repeatedly stresses that fighters at this weight must consistently face elite opposition to earn true recognition, because one standout win is never enough to secure long-term supremacy.
Boots match up with him.
Boots matches up, he might be the best fighter. I think he's the most talented fighter
For sure.
at 154.
Is he ever going to fight any of these guys?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. I think we're going to see him fight somebody this summer. We'll get to it a little bit later in the show.
Look, what do you think of, when I look at all those names, I see a bunch of good fighters. But when you say who could be special out of all those guys, my best prediction would be Boots.
Boots.
But you got to beat these guys. You can't just make us feel that way. You got to actually do it.
To me, the top guys in that division is Boots and Virgil.
Right. That's why everyone wants to see that fight.
You know what I mean? So, and Boots has got that. He got that swag. He got that speed, that power, good defense. He from Philly.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was waiting.
By the way, these two are not going to get
if you're not a big boxing fan or a real professional boxer, and you just watch all these guys fight, and you watch Boots, you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
The wow effect, he has that. So we ask this question, it's not even no shot of the doubt who's the most talented fighter.
So here's the question that matters most. Does Boots' raw power and explosive nature prove to be too much to handle? Or does Zayas' technical brilliance and beyond his years, composure give him everything he needs to pull off the unthinkable? The floor is yours. Drop your prediction down in the comments below.